Hello and welcome to Complexity Limits Guide for the Mythic Vexiona encounter, written and produced by Crzypck in coordination with Complexity Limit, brought to you by GameStop. Before we begin, please note we will only be discussing the Mythic version of this encounter. We will not be going into detail on how any of the heroic mechanics work. If you want to learn more about how the heroic mechanics work or the basics of the boss overall, please check out our heroic boss guide on the channel. We recommend going in with 2 to 3 tanks, 4 healers, and 13 to 14 DPS. If you elect to 3 tank, your third tank should ideally be either a Blood Death Knight or a Vengeance Demon Hunter. We'll get more into that later. We recommend using Bloodlust as soon as you enter Phase 3. There are 2 mythic mechanics you need to be aware of. First, anytime a player takes damage from an encroaching shadow puddle, you'll get a stack of Void Corruption, the permanent dot. To help minimize this, we recommend dropping them as close to the right-hand side wall as possible. This way, they won't be in your way and you won't run into them. Do not drop the puddles near the front or back of the room, as it will end up getting in your way there, especially later on in the fight. The puddles do not despawn on Mythic. The second change is that a new ad spawns from the Dark Gateway, called the Iron-Willed Enforcer. These work just like the trash mob of the same name right before the boss. They'll pull 3 random players in the melee range, then cast No Escape, denoted by the circle around it. If you're in the circle when the cast finishes, you die. Simply move out of the circle. Gateways will spawn at 36 seconds into the fight, 1 minute and 11 seconds, 2 minutes and 20 seconds, 2 minutes and 56 seconds, 3 minutes and 28 seconds, 4 minutes and 32 seconds, and 5 minutes and 10 seconds. Enforcers will spawn with every gateway except the ones at 2 minutes 56 and 5 minutes 10. In Phase 1 and 2, their strategy is mostly the same as Heroic. You'll want one tank assigned to always be on Vexiona, and your other tank, or tanks, focusing on picking up the adds. Drop encroaching shadows near the very edge of the room, make sure nobody but the boss's tank gets hit by Vexiona's breath, and make sure when Despair is applied to the boss tank, they get spam healed. The only difference is how the tanks should handle the adds. The most efficient way to deal with the gateway adds is quite simple. Kill them with the Ascendant's Annihilation laser beam. As such, you'll want to have the Annihilation laser for every single set of gateway adds. Your add tank should just hold the Ascendant, move it to the gateways when they spawn, and pick up the new gateway adds ASAP. When the Annihilation is being cast, that tank should take a step back from the Ascendant, make sure all the other adds are between them and the Ascendant, and then get all the adds melted by the laser. The laser, by itself, will melt almost half the health off of the other adds. You'll want to hold off on actually killing the Ascendant adds until right before you enter Phase 2, which will occur at 1 minute 20 and 3 minutes 30. Wait until the Ascendant finishes its Annihilation on the new set of gateway adds, then kill it off. As soon as it dies, your boss tank should pick up the orb and immediately use it. Aim the laser at the new adds, and that'll finish them off. However, the brand new Ascendant that's created when you enter Phase 2 should not be killed. You'll want this guy to last the entire way through your next Phase 1. As in Heroic's Phase 2, you'll need to dodge Vexiona's flyover breath and keep dropping encroaching shadows near the side of the room. You'll repeat Phase 1 and Phase 2 each a second time, exactly like before. Use the Void Ascendant's Annihilation to blast the gateway adds when they spawn, and kill the Void Ascendant as you enter Phase 2. Let it get an Annihilation cast off on the new gateway adds, kill it, then have your boss tank grab the orb and use the laser beam again. Do not kill the new Void Ascendant, who will be created right at the beginning of this Phase 2. Once your second Phase 2 ends, you'll enter your third Phase 1. The goal here is to push the boss to 40% before you get a third Phase 2. Make sure you kill off the Ascendant add before you enter Phase 3 and have it die near where your boss tank is. This will make it easier for them to pick up that orb later on. Lust immediately when you enter Phase 3. There's a lot of damage that goes out during this phase, and it'll ramp up significantly over time. This is where you'll likely see most of your wipes during progression. On Mythic, a Shadow of Vexiona will spawn every 19 seconds and do the Phase 2 flyover mechanic. Your raid leader will need to call out which third of the room the Shadow is flying over and which third of the room the raid should move to be safe. Getting hit by the flyover breath in this phase is still a one-shot. You'll also need to stand near a friend at all times, or your haste will be reduced by 100%. Healers will want to use raid cooldowns for Heart of Darkness. Everyone needs to make sure they move out of the targeting circle for this, and also ensure you stay near at least one friend. If you aren't near a friend when the Heart of Darkness explodes, you'll be feared just like you do on Heroic. Now on Mythic, the handling of Desolation properly is extremely important. It'll now split 60 stacks of Void Corruption, compared to the 30 it does on Heroic. Your goal is to kill the boss before the 4th Desolation cast. There are 2 options for handling this, based on whether you're 2 tanking or 3 tanking. If you're 2 tanking, your boss tank and 2 players with immunities will need to soak the 1st and 2nd Desolation. The 2 soakers should use their immunity on the 1st Desolation and then just let themselves die from the 2nd cast. Using their immunity will not prevent the application of the Void Corruption stacks, so those soakers are going to die after the 2nd Desolation regardless. You'll want another group of 2 immunity soakers for Desolations 3 and 4, again doing the exact same thing. As far as the boss tank is concerned, they should click the Ascendance Orb that you left up after the 1st Desolation ends to reset their stacks. It's likely this tank will die after probably the 3rd Desolation, so your off tank who's been on the ads previously will need to be ready to taunt the boss if that happens. If you're 3 tanking, the same idea is still going to be followed. The difference is that your 3rd tank will always be one of the soakers, so you'll only need to have 1 DPS soaker per Desolation. If you go with the 3 tank idea, that 3rd tank, as we said, should be a Blood DK or Vengeance DH, as they have good magic mitigation and strong self-healing. Your boss tank will still pick up the Ascendance Orb after the 1st Desolation to clear stacks. The 1st immunity player is still going to need to sacrifice themselves and die after the 2nd Desolation, and you'll still need a 2nd immunity player to help soak the 3rd Desolation. Both tank strategies do work, so decide which to use based on what your guild has available. If you have access to a 3rd tank, and you can have a geared Blood Death Knight or Vengeance Demon Hunter play that 3rd tank role, ideally with a lot of Echoing Void Corruption gear, you'll likely see a benefit to that. If your guild doesn't have that as an option, the 2 tank strategy is entirely viable. Pick whichever one's going to work best for you. Best of luck, get some pulls in, slay this dragon, and let's move on to some of the later bosses. Thanks for watching. We hope you found the guide helpful. If you'd like more details on this encounter or how it works, please click the link below to our written guide. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. You can also find the rest of our Ny'alotha boss guides right here on our channel or at complexity.gg. For more content like this, follow Complexity on Twitter and subscribe to their YouTube channel. To keep up with Limit's race for World First, follow them on Twitter. Happy raiding!